Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
To Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and we have another incredible guest today, a really good friend of mine, Talia Adika, and she is so passionate about supporting her clients and all the people that follow her in health insurance. So we've got Talia Adika coming on to the show. Just want to give out an official shout out to our show sponsors, Craig Shelley, Beverly Hills, Luxury Watches and Fine Jewellery at craigshelley.com. We are streaming live through mspnewsglobal.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch. We're also streaming through the E360 TV network, going out under fresh takes on Roku TV, Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, and many more. So let's bring Talia Adika into the broadcast. Talia, welcome to the Brilliance Business TV show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Talia, I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today. It's been a really testing year and over a year with what's going on with the global pandemic. I know that's made you busier than ever. So we will talk about a lot of the problems in healthcare and health at the moment and how we can support that moving forwards. But I would just like to know a little bit about your background, what has led you to do what you're doing today.
Sure. So I started my career in human resources in corporate pharmaceuticals, and working within that department and within that industry, I started noticing a lot of flaws. And unfortunately, we would receive a lot of at least 2 to 3 calls a day of your average person. They could not afford a medication that they needed. And sometimes it was really life or death. You know, their health depended on it, because the health insurance provider that they had at that time would not cover it. And I would just think to myself, there has to be a way to try to make a change. There has to be a way. So after that, I did venture off on my own. And I started the agency TY Health Insurance Brokerage. And we're almost here 10 years later. And we are known, we're number one in the New York tri-state area, but we're also known globally. So we're always the first go-to person if you are an entity or entrepreneur from abroad and you would like to open a branch here in the States. We always guide others. And then vice versa. If you are looking to send employees abroad, we assist as well. So our expertise and how we assist others is not just in the New York tri-state area. We are national in the USA and international.
You mentioned the way you got started is people getting in touch about not being able to afford medication. Now, I have seen this quite a lot, and it's always based in the USA whenever I'm hearing about this problem. Is this still a big problem, Talia?
Yes, it's actually getting a little bit worse. The health insurance carriers are forcing the patients and the consumers, us, your average person, they only want to promote generic brands. So if your doctor prescribes a generic form of medication, That's fine. The issue now lies, what if your body rejects that generic medication and you need the real medication where it derives from the original source? They're starting to give a lot of people problems with that. And they label it as a specialty medication. So what they're saying now is, okay, we will cover 50%. You're responsible for the rest. Well, what if this medication costs $4,000 a month? That's a lot of money. So now that patient that needs it, and a lot of these medications, it's really life or death. You need that to live. So they have to shell out the additional $2,000 a month just for a medication that they need to go about their daily life. It's sad. It's very sad.
I actually watched, it was on TikTok recently, and it's some American girl that now lives in the UK, and she reviews things from the UK and reviews things from the USA. She did a breakdown of how much it costs to have a baby in the USA.
Yes.
I think she said something like $60,000.
Correct. That's just for the labor and delivery. What if that is a C-section and now you have the anesthesiologist and now you have the pediatrician? So yes, it does not end there. 60,000 or more. Yes, that is true.
I feel blessed that in the UK we have a national health system which is so vital and really, really amazing that we all get supported, because when you do see some of the challenges that the USA have in healthcare, there are a lot of problems out there. Talia, tell us a little bit about your business now and exactly what you do and how you support your clients.
So what we do, and we're a fond believer of education, because the more educated you are about the type of health insurance plan you have, you would know how to navigate it. You would know how to prevent any hidden costs. And a lot of the times a consumer or a patient, they enroll in a health insurance plan, they do not even know what they have. So they go to the doctor and they feel very trusting within that practice or that hospital, and then they receive a surprise medical bill. And sometimes the surprise medical bill could be thousands of dollars. Even blood work. If that laboratory where you obtained your blood work for, let's say, a metabolic screening, if it was out of network, you're responsible for that. And that could really cost a lot of money. So what we do is we educate. It's very important to educate. Whether we can assist someone or not, at least we're out there and trying to change the game by letting people know this is how it works, and to be careful, not to be so trusting when you obtain medical care.
So what I am getting, you kind of look at all the red flags for them so that they know exactly what they're looking for, and so that they're choosing the right plan so they don't get burned later on.
Correct. And another key component is a lot of the doctors feel, okay, let's just have a minor kind of procedure in office. And the patient is very trusting. You cannot do that here in the States. You have to let your health insurance know. The doctor doesn't have the power and authority that they used to. So it's very important that we educate others to ask the right questions and to be on top of their health care.
It's probably really, really a minefield for many when they're choosing health insurance. And is it expensive to get covered with insurance, Talia?
So the way it works here in the States, it's very income driven. So depending on the amount of money you make per year, that is the type of coverage you can obtain. And I would say most of the USA is enrolled in a health insurance plan through their employer. But if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a sole proprietor, and we do have a lot, your lawyers, your doctors, your real estate agent, therapists, they all fall along those categories. It's difficult for them because they may not be an employee that has everything kind of taken care of for them. So we do specialize in that market where we guide and assist the sole proprietor, the entrepreneur, the lawyers, the doctors, the therapists, because they need the guidance as well. They're a professional in their field, right? What their profession is. But when it comes to healthcare, they do need our assistance and our guidance.
I agree totally. And I think it's a big, big problem that in today's modern world, you think there would be a solution to really make it much more accessible so that there's no one left out and there's no one struggling to get health care that they vitally need, Talia. And what has this last year been like for you? Because it's been crazy. I can imagine you have been busier than ever.
Very, very busy during the pandemic. I would say the main theme, fear. I think it was a global emotion that we all felt. It was the fear of the unknown, fear of what the media was kind of throwing at us. And nobody really knew what the next step was. So that fear, we felt that when we were dealing with our clients, potential clients, or even assisting others, whether they became a client or not, we always guide and assist. And a lot of relocation. So if a family did not feel safe where they build their lives, they could have lived in this location for 10 years. Once the pandemic hit, everybody was moving, relocating back home to the suburbs. If home was back home to Europe, they did that. If home was back to the USA, they did. So people kind of found their safe zone. And they wanted to make sure that their health insurance followed them to that safe zone.
It's really, really sad when you look at it, isn't it, Talia? And what come to my mind then was New York. All of a sudden, everyone wants to be in New York. The pandemic hit. It was just so crazy how everyone had to just relocate. Businesses were just going bust overnight. All the apartments, all the houses were becoming empty. It's been crazy, hasn't it?
It has been. I remember driving through New York City in the heart of the pandemic around this time last year. And there were stores boarding it up. It was just like a ghost town. But a year later, and New York City we're not fully there yet, but we're getting there. And we should be fully opened by July 1st. That's what we hear from local officials.
There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly.
And it's the same here in the UK. We're slowly relaxing things. So I was lucky yesterday to be able to take my mum and aunt for dinner. It was outside in a marquee. We were dressed up warm, but even that felt such a blessing to be able to go and have lunch as a family. It's been such a testing year, Talia. It's been hard.
It has been hard. And another main component when it comes to healthcare is mental health. I mean, that's something that we always focus on: weight and exercise and cholesterol and blood pressure. But what about your mental health? And that was a big key component the past year. How are you doing today? Just asking your neighbor, how are you doing today? Because a lot of people felt lonely A lot of us felt isolated, and I think we're ready. We're ready to go back out there again and talk to your neighbors again, right? And not hide behind a screen.
Yes. I mean, technology has been amazing,
Yes.
and it's definitely here to stay. Online, face-to-face Zoom, it's brilliant. But I'm passionate about mental health as well, and that is probably one of the biggest problems that we don't talk about enough as well, Talia. We're all talking about health and problems with our health due to the pandemic, but mental health has got to be one of the biggest issues. And even when we are relaxing and going out back into the normal world, it does take a little bit of time to get used to being free again, and that is all to do with mental health. So I think it's a great point that people should be able to get support with their mental health as well.
What I like to teach others is just be considerate of others, because you never know what kind of day they're going through, and just be kind to others, because they may have heard bad news, and maybe they're not being so nice to you, but don't get it, don't take offense by it. But mental health was very, very big here within the tri-state area. And we even had commercials. How are you doing today? How are you feeling today? And I hope we can keep that going, even after the pandemic. I hope we could keep that going.
I agree totally. So we're coming to a commercial break. Be kind to others, Talia. That's what I'm taking from what you have just said. More kindness in the world gets us places. We're here with Talia Adika from TY Health Insurance. So far, she has discussed how, from getting overrun with people calling her because they couldn't afford their medical care, launched her into a career of supporting people with all health insurance, healthcare needs. Join us after the commercial break, where we will be going over some of the problems in health and healthcare over the last year and talking about some of the solutions that will get us through it. Join us after the commercial break. Welcome back to Brilliance Business TV. We are here with Talia Adika from TY Health Insurance. Welcome back, Talia. Before the commercial break, Talia shared her journey into health insurance, and we have talked about some of the problems with the pandemic over the last year that people are going through, how people can't afford their health insurance, especially in the USA. And Talia has shared what she does to support her clients in health and health insurance. Talia, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell us some of the problems, Talia, that you have seen over this last year, specifically in healthcare, problems that people are having in health the health industry, health insurance? What have you been seeing as a problem at the moment?
A major problem that is gaining trend, unfortunately, is because of the Affordable Care Act and the limits that they have set to pay out the doctors. A lot of the doctors, they do not want to take health insurance. So you can pay a nice premium every month, even for the best plan, but then you'll find that the doctor that you've been seeing for the past 5 years, they're saying, no, I don't want to take your health insurance anymore. You want to see me, you have to pay me up front. And if you want reimbursement, you submit it to your health insurance, not me. And so this is an ongoing trend, because if you're already paying a monthly premium, you want your doctors to accept your plan, but they don't want to anymore. And this is a major dilemma. It's a major dilemma.
That sounds to me a little bit corrupt as
I
well,
know, I
because
know.
the last thing you want when you're going through any kind of health issue is to be sorting out paperwork, getting in touch with insurance companies. What can be done about this problem? How can this be solved?
We assist a lot of our clients, members. We assist them with that process, and we provide instructions and how to do it the first time, the second time, and we guide and assist with that, with how to submit a claim. I'm also finding that a lot of the doctors will say, okay, you pay for me up front and we will submit that claim for you. That's another trend. So they're trying to accommodate that way. Not all, but that's slowly gaining popularity as well.
I've had that problem myself, Talia, when I was on holiday with a travel insurance. I think it was because I got stung by a sea urchin. Don't quote me on that. I had all splinters embedded in my foot. It was the last day of the holiday, but they wanted me to pay everything and go through the insurance myself. And that is just hassle, to the point where I ended up saying, I'll wait till I get back home and just put up with the problem until I get back home to be able to sort it out. So I know that is a problem in insurance in general as well.
Correct. I mean, I do receive calls. Oh, what is the best health insurance plan or best program that you have? And my first response is, there is none. It doesn't exist. If somebody tells you otherwise, they're probably fibbing. They're lying. So, like I said in the beginning, educating yourself on what you are enrolling in is the best way to prevent a lot of the out-of-pocket costs that most people can't afford. Just always asking the right questions.
And what other problems have you seen over this last year?
I would say that, like I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of the plans here are income-based in the USA. So if somebody before the pandemic was making a very nice salary, or was a consultant, an entrepreneur, and maybe that changed, now they're left with a hefty cost per month, but their income has drastically decreased. So that was a trend that we saw during the pandemic. And things are starting to pick up, but it really depends on the industry.
So who ideally do you work with? I know you have all sorts of different clientele, Talia, but who do you feel you are best of value to and best of support to? What problems are they facing, and why should they come and seek you out?
Sure. So we specialize, our niche is the small business commercial health insurance market. So a lot of entrepreneurs where they do have a location here in the tri-state or anywhere in the USA, they may have a headquarters abroad, maybe even in London. So we guide them, we assist them. They utilize our knowledge so they can provide the best care for their new employees. We also cater towards, like I said, the entrepreneur and the sole proprietor. So depending on the industry, could be real estate, law, attorneys, doctors, believe it or not, are sole proprietors, therapists, a lot of in the creative field, media, production, design, even your celebrity, right? Your celebrity, we see them on TV, but they're managing their book of business, so that's really our clientele. We guide them, we assist them, and we're always the go-to person. So if you have an issue with a claim, of course they call us, and we try to assist them on next steps. Any issues with doctors, with billing, just all around. So we're always here for support.
I know how passionate you are about serving, helping,
Yes.
and supporting your clients, Talia. You love what you do. That really shows, but you really do come from a good place of helping people that really, really need it. My last question for you today: what is new for Talia? What can we see you doing in the future? I already know a little secret what project you'll be working on early next year, but you've got a lot going on, haven't you?
There's a few projects. The first project is my book project, which will be launched the beginning of 2022. And there may be some coaching involved. So how to be successful in business and within the health insurance industry. So that's a major project in its own. And the second project is we're looking at utilizing healthcare through technology. So instead of having the emphasis solely on the health insurance carriers, there's new technology coming out that can help the average person. And hopefully financially, the burden will not be so high. We have
Talia,
good things coming in.
You are working on some great projects, and I've really enjoyed having a conversation with you. Can you just leave us with a word of wisdom? Anyone that's suffering with mental health, anyone that's struggling with health issues or health insurance issues, just give us a final word of wisdom to give us some hope at the end of the tunnel.
Ask questions. Ask for help. We cannot do everything on our own, and it's okay to ask for help. It's okay. That's something that I learned the hard way, but I'm a fond believer of that. Ask for help.
Never suffer alone.
Exactly.
Never suffer in silence.
Correct.
Talia, thank you so much for being on the Brilliance Business TV show. I've really enjoyed having a conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's been my pleasure. You have been listening and watching Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I'm your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and we have been joined by Talia Adika. She has...
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.